today's most auspicious day. It is the appearance day of Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Sidhanta Sarasvati Goswami Thakur, and also disappearance day of Purushottam Thakur, and disappearance day of Srila Govinda Swami Maharaj. So our Gurudev wrote about Purushottam Thakur. Just briefly, I will in the book Nagar Purushottam was previously the cowherd named Dam in Braja. He is now born in a Vaidya family as the son of Sadashiva. So in Krishna Lila, he is one of the 12 Gopals named Dam. From Chaitanya Bhagavat, Sadashiva Kaviraj was very fortunate to have a son like Purushottam Das. Purushottam Das had no external consciousness of his body, for Nityananda Prabhu dwelled in his heart. He was also married. His wife was Jannava Devi, and they had a son Kanu Thakur. She died, and Nityananda Prabhu named the boy Shishu Krishna Das. Jannava Devi adopted him. He was also one of the 12 Gopals. And we are singing that song, Vrindavana Vasi Jata Vaishnava Go, in the morning. This is the short version of Vaishnava Bandhana, written by Devakinandan Prabhu, but there is the longer one also. So in that longer one, Devakinandan, who is a disciple of Purushottam Thakur, he wrote, I worship Sadashiva Kaviraj with great attentiveness. He was constantly intoxicated with love and had no external consciousness. I worship my worshipable Lord Purushottam Thakur, who can list his incomparable qualities. He was merciful to those who were devoid of virtue, displaying the natural power of his compassion. When only 7 years old, he was so intoxicated with love for Krishna that he danced in a way that enchanted the entire world. And from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sadashiva Kaviraj was a great personality. Purushottam Das was his son. From birth, Purushottam Das was absorbed in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, and he always engaged in childlike play with Lord Krishna. His son was named Sri Kanu Thakur, a very respectable gentleman. His body was saturated with the nectar of love for Lord Krishna. And from Gauriya Vaishnava Pidan, this is like an encyclopedia. There it is written, Purushottam once ate snake poison when in a trance state without experiencing any ill effects. This was a source of great astonishment to all those who witnessed it. Many of Nityananda Prabhu's associates often displayed such miraculous powers. So on today's day, Sri Purushottam Thakur, he's a personal associate, very dear. He was in the preaching party of Nityananda Prabhu, we heard on that Panihati festival, and all over Bengal he was traveling with him. So on today's day, he left this world. So I'm bowing down to him and praying for his causeless mercy. Also today is disappearance day of one dear disciple of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaj. he appeared in Orissa, near Jagannath Puri, in a Vaishnava family. So from his birth he was a Vaishnava. As a child he already used to serve the deity, do kirtan, study all Shastras, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Gita, all. And he was a very ideal character, pure. And then he became a householder, and even during his householder life, he was all the time engaged in the service of Krishna. He was a school teacher, and even in school he would used to teach his students also Bhagavad Gita lessons, and so many in so many ways he tried, and he preached to his wife and children and all there. And because he had to maintain, during daytime he could not study. He wanted to get some higher education, so during nighttime he would study, and then early morning he would do puja and chant Maha Mantra, and then like this. So no ordinary person can do like that. Then later, in short time telling, you will find his biography in many places. Then he felt that he has to renounce family life so that he can dedicate fully for the service of Krishna. So he left house and was wandering all over India, visiting many pilgrimage places, holy places. And there also he refuted all the Mayavad philosophy of those, and yoga and all this. So he refuted. Then he came to Vrindavan, because his desire was, when he left the house, his desire was to get one spiritual guide from whom he could know the actual meaning of Mahamantra. So ultimately he came to Vrindavan, and there he saw International Society for Krishna Consciousness banner, and he became interested. So he went there, and he also met Srila Sai Maharaj. And in their first meeting, Sai Maharaj, just seeing him, because pure devotee can see everything, just seeing him, he said, "You already took sannyas?" Then Maharaj said, "No." Then Sai Maharaj immediately said, "Then I will give you sannyas." Then Govinda Sai Maharaj understood that he knows his heart. He knows everything about him. So he accepted him as a guru and took sannyas from him, although some others were objecting. Some disciples of Sai Maharaj, sannyasis, they said, "He's very new. He just came. How he can get sannyas so quickly?" Then Sai Maharaj told, "He's not new. He's a Vaishnava from birth. You are new. He's not new." So he gave him sannyas in Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram Mandir, and then he ordered him to preach in Oriya language in Orissa, and also to translate the books in Oriya language, which he did, all Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, everything. And also he opened one temple there in Bhubaneswar, Krishna Balaram Mandir, with great hardship, but he was working very sincerely. So also when something was done, then also Srila Sai Maharaj came there. That was just prior to his disappearance almost. He came there and he stayed in that hut of Guru Govinda Sai Maharaj. He built, and they had very close association, they're intimate. And that time also he ordered him, "You will have to be head, you will have to be leader." Then Guru Govinda Sai Maharaj said, "How? I want to be tail, not head." They said, "No, you will have to be head." So then he was preaching, and gradually also all over the world he went traveling and rescued so many, awakened so many souls. And then on today's day, when he was in Mayapur, on this day, appearance day of Prabhupada, one second, just that it will open. Yes. So his main teaching was that one should be sincere in devotion and he should chant Harinam without offenses. Then he can get prema. And he also said if one who chants Harinam, this is my favorite saying of his, one who chants Harinam, if he does not have darshan of Krishna, he's not seeing Krishna when he's chanting, that means he's blind, which is true because name and named, they are not different. And in the name form is there, everything is there. But as long as we have so many anarthas, impure mirror of heart and offenses and so many things, then we are unable to directly perceive Mahamantra. So we are blind. At least I am blind. But he said you will have to purify your heart by sincere chanting. Then when you will chant without offenses, with clear heart, then you will see. Gurudev also told me, if you will chant from the core of heart, then in your sanctified heart, you will see everything what is written in Bhagavatam. Without reading, you will see everything, you will get darshan. So this Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he said. Then on February 9th, 1996, the Holy Appearance Day of Srila Bhakti Sidhanta Sarasvati Thakur, two senior devotees requested an appointment to see Srila Gaur Govinda Swami. They had never spoken with him before, but they had become eager to hear from him after reading some of his books. As if by providential arrangement, they entered his room at 6 p.m. and submissively inquired, why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stay in Jagannath Puri? He laughed with delight and began to explain the confidential significance of Mahaprabhu's pastimes. In answer to this question, he lovingly described the pain of separation felt by Radha and Krishna when Krishna was away from Vrindavan. He had often narrated this moving pastime as recorded in chapter 8 of his great work, The Embankment of Separation. Enchanting all the devotees in his room with the nectarian topics of Krishna, he gradually unfolded the pastime to the point where Radha and Krishna were finally united after their long separation. He described how Krishna became so ecstatic upon seeing Radharani that he manifested a form with big round eyes known as Lord Jagannath. With a choked voice he said, then the eyes of Krishna fell upon the eyes of Radharani, eye-to-eye union. Overwhelmed with love for Radha and Krishna, he apologized with folded hands, please excuse me, I cannot speak. In a barely audible voice, he gave his final instruction. Nam Koro, means chant the holy name, chant the holy name. All the devotees began to chant as their spiritual master lay back on his bed, breathing very slowly and deeply. A servant nearby placed a picture of Gopal Jiu, means his childhood deity, in his hand. Then, gazing lovingly at the picture of his worshipable deity, Srila Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaj called out Gopal and departed for the spiritual sky to be united with his beloved Lord. And his desire was fulfilled because before every Harikatha he used to sing this song. You will find it in his books Paramananda Madhava. So here the meaning is, O supremely blissful Madhava, The nectar is coming from your lotus feet. Drinking that nectar, I blissfully sing Hari Hari. With the name of Hari, I am binding a raft on which Lord Jagannath will ferry me across this ocean of material existence. My mind always remains at the lotus feet of that Lord Jagannath, who has very large, round eyes. In this way, I call out, Ha Krishna, and give up my life. O husband of Radharani, please deliver me. So it happened, he said, Ha Gopal, and he left this world. And here also it is written, the sadhu never speaks theoretically. So it was proved. The song which he was all the time singing, it was not only in theory. In practical life he showed that in great separation, grief, calling out to Krishna, he will give up his life. So his biography is very nice. If you sometimes go more in detail, today we have no time, but you can find it. So very real Vaishnava, ideal Vaishnava in all respects. So on today's day, I am bowing down to him and pray for his causeless mercy. You will also find many of his Harikathas, very strong, on YouTube, very powerful, but full compassion, no any false ego. It may seem like full, but it is not. It is strong compassion to rescue us. And today also is the appearance day of Prabhupada. He appeared in, there was a reason why he had to appear. Like we hear, Mother Earth was praying to Krishna. There are so many demoniac kings on this world. They are doing atrocities to human beings, torturing them. All these things, I cannot bear that sinful activities result. So she was praying for Krishna to appear. And also Advaita Acharya, he saw this world was full of only sense gratification and no devotion to Krishna, so he prayed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to appear. So also, when after the disappearance of Mahaprabhu and his personal associates, and then his successors, 6 Goswamis, and then Shyamananda Narottam and Srinivas, then dark era was there. So many, Apasampradayas, pseudo-sects came. They were preaching, they were saying, we are followers of Mahaprabhu, but they were doing immoral activities, wrong activities, but cheating the people that this is Mahaprabhu's teaching and misusing them, exploiting them in so many ways. 13 different that Totarandas Babaji Maharaj mentioned, Aul Baul Kartabaja, all saying we are Mahaprabhu. But so, and highly intellectual people, they also lost faith when seeing them, and they thought, oh, if this is the teaching of Mahaprabhu, then we reject Mahaprabhu. So such very sad plight was there. Mahaprabhu thought, I came to give them opportunity for Krishna Prem, but now it is lost. And they lost all faith, everything. So I have to, and all books were there, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavatam, Gita, all Upanishads, all scriptures were there, but no one could understand what is the actual purport of those scriptures, because for that you need to be surrendered. But how you will get surrendered? By association of surrendered soul. So then Mahaprabhu, out of compassion for fallen souls, as conditioned souls, he first sent Srila Bhakti Sidhanta Thakur. There was a reason, it was necessity. So Bhakti Sidhanta Thakur came and he refuted all those Sampradayas by writing so many books and by preaching and by ideal character and everything. So much he did. Then when he was in Puri, there where our mat is now there, he was praying to Jagannath that I need some person who will spread this teaching, who will go on with this. So in response to that, he was born there, Prabhupada. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur named him Bimala Prasad, because internal potency of Jagannath is Bimala Devi. So her grace is Bimala Prasad. He gave him such name. And when he was born, that umbilical cord, baby and mother connected. That was, when he was born, that was wrapped around his body as this sacred Brahmin thread. So already it was shown about him. It's not ordinary. So this was one reason, because Mahaprabhu, out of compassion, he wanted to rescue fallen souls and rescue them from misleaders, those Sampradayas. They are cheating in the name of Mahaprabhu. If someone is cheating openly, that is okay. But if someone covertly cheating in the name of Mahaprabhu, then that is more dangerous. So then Prabhupada appeared there, and Nama Sankirtan was always going on in Thakur Bhaktivinoda's house. Then that year Ratha Yatra came, and Jagannath stopped there in front of his house and would not move for 3 days. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur arranged for Nama Sankirtan to be sung there 3 days, all the time. Then on the 3rd day, Bhagavati Devi, means mother of Prabhupada, she brought him, he was 6 months old, and took him to Jagannath up on the car, chariot, because she had this chance, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur was high position in government, magistrate, and also he was in charge of Jagannath temple for management, because there was so much corruption was there. Everywhere in Kali Yuga this is there. So when Bhaktivinoda Thakur came to Puri, all seeing his ideal character, they requested him, you please take over the management of Jagannath Seva. So he did, and he removed so much corruption from there. So then everything was going on smoothly when Bhaktivinoda Thakur took over. Then, so she was wife, so she could go up on chariot, and Prabhupada, 6 years, he wanted to grasp the feet of Jagannath. He did. At that time, one garland, flower garland, fell down on him. Means God's blessing. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur also at that time made that sanskar, means that those purificatory rituals, there are 10 in scriptures, when the child is first time getting grain to eat, solid food. Before liquid, now solid. So he gave him Jagannath Prasad. And after this, then immediately Jagannath moved on. So it was shown, because it is mentioned in Padma Puran that Hyutkalehi Purushottamat, that Krishna Bhakti means devotion of 4 acharyas, means pure devotion to Supreme Lord, and Mahaprabhu gathered all. It will spread all over the world from Puri. So this prediction was already written by Vyasadeva 5,000 years ago. And now it was proved that Prabhupada appeared, and with him preaching went all over the world. By his initiative, by his sending and all this, it happened. And also to substantiate that saying of Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Priti Vite Ache Joto Nagar Adigram, Sarvatra Prachar Hoibe Mor Nam. How many villages and towns and cities there are in the world, everywhere my name will be spread, will be preached, will be chanted. Means both Krishna name and Mahaprabhu's name also. So this was fulfilled by Prabhupada. So there are so many reasons. So he appeared there, and was very golden, effulgent. And then slowly, it is a long, his biography you can find in Gurudev's book in detail. He, at the age of 7, when Bhakti Thakur was digging the foundation for that Bhakti Asan there in Calcutta, so one Kurma deity appeared from the ground. Then Bhakti Thakur gave him to Prabhupada to worship. He gave him, already before he gave him Harinam initiation, Tulsi Japamala, and this time also he told him, now you will have to wear tilak all the time, 7-year-old boy, and you will have to worship Kurma Dev, Kurma Bhagavan, by this mantra he gave him. So he was offering flowers and bhoga, everything he was doing, deity worship. Because Kurma Dev, he rescues the Veda. So like that, Prabhupada's mission was, he will have to rescue the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, pure teaching of Mahaprabhu. So then, many things you will find in his biography. And then he also met there in Godrundvip in Swananda Sukada Kunja, he met Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj and was attracted by his ideal character. Prabhupada said, I thought nowadays there are no perfect beings, all are defective. But I had to change my thinking when I saw Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And Bhakti Thakur then ordered, you will have to take mantra diksha from him. So you know, he approached him many times, but Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj refused him. And Gurudev said, if we would be in his place due to our false ego, we would feel insulted and we would go away. And try to find some other easily available guru. But Prabhupada showed, no, or you have to be sincere if you want to get real guidance. So then ultimately, he said, Gorkishore Das Babaji said, okay, I will ask Mahaprabhu. Then Prabhupada asked what Mahaprabhu said. Then Gorkishore Das, he said, Mahaprabhu said, you are a very proud person. You think you have good moral character and learned and all this, so you are very proud. You cannot get mantra. Proud person cannot worship Supreme Lord. So then Prabhupada did not argue, but he was disappointed. He became pale in his face and he regretted, but he accepted. If this is the order of Mahaprabhu, then I accept. So displaying Trinada Pisunichana mood, actual submission to Mahaprabhu. Then Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj saw. Then he took dust from his lotus feet and he smeared it all over the body of Prabhupada. He never did this to anyone. Even if someone wanted to touch his feet, he would curse him. Your everything will be destroyed. He never allowed. But now, by his own initiative, he put there and he said, you are the only one person who is capable of preaching Mahaprabhu's message all over the world. Because he displayed directly this Trinada Pisunichana Bhav. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, he ordered him that you will have to preach. And after the disappearance of, and yes, during that time also he was in Mayapur, he was doing chanting whole time. Because in Puri, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave him some engagement, but other people were disturbed because he was so pure and he could not tolerate any corruption and impurity and all these things. So they became disturbed. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur told him, better you go to Mayapur and chant in secluded place. Here they are not eligible for such standard. So then he was doing, and with great austerity, and he continued, and just some time before the disappearance of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he was already bedridden, then some problem came. The Smarta Brahmins, they attacked Vaishnavas, saying, this is all false. Vaishnavas, they have no any position in society, and Brahmins are superior, and we will have to have all monopoly on spirituality and all this. Karma Kandis, smart Brahmins, they committed offenses to Vaishnava. So there was a big problem, and people, they believed. So one devotee came to Bhaktivinoda Thakur and said, this is the problem. So how we will solve now? Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, now I am bedridden, I cannot go, but I am sending Frau Sidhanta Sarasvati, that time, Vimala Prasad, not yet sannyasi. He will go, and he sent him. He was young that time. So Prabhupada came there in that assembly, and he first spoke about the glories of Brahmins. So much from scripture that even those Brahmins, they were astonished. They did not know so much glories of Brahmins. They are Brahmins and they were glorifying themselves as much as possible, but they were astonished. He told more glories, so they were very happy. Then Prabhupada, after speaking the glories of Brahmins, real Brahmins, not just by birth, but by qualities, then he spoke the glories of Vaishnavas in comparison. So then they were all silenced, because he gave all scriptural evidence. There's a whole book like this, I have it. How much he spoke. There are 3 chapters, I think, but it's a big book, in detail, everything, about Brahmins, about Vaishnava, everything. Karma Kandat, impersonalism, bhakti, everything. So no one could say anything. Then they were defeated. Then they came to Bhakti Thakur and said that from Radharaman, that Goswami, who came to Bhakti Thakur, then he said, yes, he is capable of continuing your mission. He is capable. We saw it directly. Then Bhakti Thakur said, yes. And he also ordered him, you will have to preach. I wanted to preach all these scriptures, but now you will have to take that responsibility. He wrote him one letter. So then, after the disappearance of Bhakti Thakur and also Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, then Prabhupada was doing bhajan in Mayapur with great austerity, chanting 3 lakhs daily and eating very little from the ground. Then he was thinking, how I will preach. My gurus told me. He was thinking, and also thinking, I am not eligible to preach. With humbleness, he was regretting, I will not be able to fulfill. Then one day in Jogapit, Mayapur, he got that vision, divine vision. He saw Mahaprabhu, all 5, Panchatattva, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi, and Gaur Bhaktavrinda, all associates of Mahaprabhu, and also Guru Parampara, our Guru Parampara, and Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, all, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, they came. And Mahaprabhu said, you will have to preach. Then Prabhupada said, how I will preach? I'm not eligible, and I have no money power, I have no manpower, nothing. How I will preach? Then Mahaprabhu said, you don't worry. We are all at your back. And all knowledge, all money, all manpower, everything is waiting for you. We are sending everything. You don't worry anything. You start, you go on. So then, after that vision, he was changed. He had some few disciples before that, so they told he was totally changed. Then very soon, that Kunja Bihari Prabhu came to him, and he said, it is good you are doing bhajan in Dham, but you should also give this to the public. They are being deprived of this. So I will make arrangement. And he took him to Calcutta, that Ultadangi Junction Road, where he rented that place. That was the first mat, Gauriya mat. In Mayapur, that was the Chaitanya mat. That time not building like this, but Prabhupada's Bhajan Kutir was there. Gauriya mat first in Calcutta, that place. So there Prabhupada started to preach, and gradually so many ideal character they came. Sridhar Maharaj, our Parangurudev Bon Maharaj, all high-class individuals. They were sent, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav, all they came. And it spread all over India, and truly it became the dignity was regained all over India, not only in Bengal, but all over India he was preaching, and people, they understood, yes, this is right, this is the best, by his character. Then he also sent to London and Germany, and in his last writing for the Gauriya magazine, he wrote, now preaching also going on in foreign countries, in Europe, but why America should be left out? There also preaching should be there. So he already opened that, and he published so many magazines, 6 and 64 mats all over India, and doing parikrama, Brajamandal, Kshetramandal, Navadip, and Brajamandal, Kshetramandal, all South India, North India, everywhere. So much. If you read that biography, you will be astonished how much he did in short time. And then Srila Sai Maharaj, his disciple, he told him many times, you will have to preach in English language, because you know good English, so you will have to preach. Then few times he told him, and then also he appeared to him in dream in Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan. And that time Sai Maharaj felt, now I will have to go, and he went to America and all over the world. That was, Prabhupada was behind him, because this prediction was there. All over the world, the teaching of Mahaprabhu, means Harinam, will be spread. And teaching of Mahaprabhu. So he did it. So it was already in scripture, and he refuted all Apasampradayas, and he established these mats so that people can have opportunity of service of Krishna, because in house there was disturbed. So many things he did. You will find in Gurudev's. So also we heard that teaching, how he said, this human life is very rare. After so many, that Bhagavatam verse, and it is very precious, but it is temporary. So you don't know when you will die. And sense gratification was already available in all other species. Human birth is not meant for this. That was already done before. No need. Human life is not meant for that. And even if you do, you will not be satisfied. Only you will get trouble, suffering. So those who know this, they will immediately start bhajan. From now, from this moment. Then those two students, they said, so we should not go home? No, because on the way home you may die, accident may happen. Then they said, but what if our house is on fire? Then we should go and extinguish it. Prabhupada said, no, no need. Then he said, then they said, but if we will not extinguish the fire in our house, then other houses will catch that fire. So it is our duty to put down that fire. Prabhupada said, no, whole world can be burned, no problem for you or for anyone, no problem. Why? Because you are not of this world. You are not your material body. You are Atma, spirit soul, has nothing to do with this matter. You belong to Krishna. The real problem is you are averse to Krishna. That is the real problem. This problem you have to solve, not these worldly things. It has nothing to do with you. So, Prabhupada very strongly, so they could not go home. They stayed there and did bhajan. And so many other examples in Sarbok, that Kamal Kanta Gosai, he was also awakened. So, if you write there in chat box, I will tell you, 1 second. There are many teachings, short teachings here Gurudev collected. So you please, each one of you, write one number from number 1 till 36. One number, then I will read that teaching of Prabhupada. Then we will conclude, because unlimited topic. So Aravinda Lochan said 16, 33, I will have to open chat. She said 9. Okay, so Arvind Lochan said 16. If I seek the path leading to the ultimate good, I must ignore the countless voices of popular wisdom and listen to that of the realized souls, the Shrautavani. So many people may say many things, but if I want ultimate good, I have to hear from realized souls only. There may be like majority of these people in the world, they will say there is no God. So that is popular wisdom, but I will have to ignore, even whole world may say, together, quantity. But Gurudev said, if you want quantity, you will have to sacrifice quality. If you want quantity, you will have to sacrifice quality. So here Prabhupada said, if really I want ultimate good, then I will have to hear only from realized souls, not what so many people together, mass people, they may say. Totally ignore. So then 33. Nandarani, I'm not seeing any number from you and from Urmila and Kalavati. Then Tungavida said 33. Our basic disease is nothing but the accumulation of things devoid of any relation to Sri Krishna. So we are accumulating so many things, but they are not related to the service of Krishna. So that is our basic disease. Accumulation of things not related to the service of Krishna. That is disease. So healthy thing is we will accumulate, or we will try to get only the service of Krishna. Shyamarani said number 9. Stay united and cooperate in the common purpose of serving Hari. Stay united and cooperate in the common purpose of serving Hari. We heard many times from Gurudev, when there are different centers of interests by false egos in this world, then they will try to exploit more and more. So they will come in clash with one another, and there's so much disturbance and violence and everything going on. But if there is one center of interest, one common center of interest for all jivas is service of Krishna, because we all belong to him. That is natural. But now in false egos, we are quarreling with false interests. But when we will realize that I belong to Krishna and everyone belongs to Krishna, our common interest is service of one Supreme Lord, our Father. So then we can be united with all and cooperate with all for this common one interest. Then there will be no clashing. So Nandarani not giving any number, and Kalavati also not giving any number. I also did not yet give some number, so I am saying, oh yes, sorry, Urmila gave, yes, 19. Urmila gave, yes, I'm reading number 19. If in order to carry out the orders of a Vaishnava Guru, I must act arrogant or impolite, or even if I must go to hell for all eternity, I agree to sign the contract. I am arrogant enough to say that on the strength of my Guru's lotus feet, I have the knockout punch for all the world's spurious philosophies. This was 19. So we have to carry out the orders of Guru at all cost, even if we have to go to hell or anything. And because this is the truth, it is in the Prabhupada told many times. Gorkishore Das Babaji is illiterate, but Prabhupada said in the one dust particle of the lotus feet of my Gurudev, absolute knowledge is there. In one particle of dust at the lotus feet of my, or from the lotus feet of my Gurudev, absolute truth is there. And here he's saying, I am arrogant enough. I can boldly declare this. I can say that on the strength of my Guru's lotus feet, I have a knockout punch for all useless philosophies of this world, because he is giving the real philosophy, real knowledge, that of devotion to Krishna. That is the only truth. All else is Mike, it is useless. So I can knock out every other proposal. Every other proposal, I can knock out that proposal. The only thing valuable is devotion to Krishna. So I'm giving my number. A flatterer is neither a guru nor a preacher. Means, if for the purpose of getting liking from worldly people, like some for name and fame or something, if you try to speak in such a way to please them or to flatter them so that you will get liking in response, that such a person cannot be guru, he cannot be preacher, because he is lying and he wants lie only, false things. But guru or preacher, they will have to speak the truth, whether people like it or not. Whether they will insult you or criticize you or whatever they want to do, you should not be concerned about that. But you have to speak the truth. Once it happened, I said to Gurudev that I'm speaking, but I cannot avoid like seeking appreciation. In 2005 in Govardhan. So Gurudev understood in this way. He said, you cannot avoid it, name and fame. You cannot avoid. Because when someone desires the service of Krishna sincerely and does the service of Krishna, then name and fame will automatically come. Like in Madhavendra Puri's case. He did not want name and fame, but automatically came. So it is naturally coming to one who is sincerely serving Krishna. So you cannot avoid. It will come like a shadow. Where someone goes, then shadow follows. So you cannot avoid it. Then Guru said, but you should not desire it. Then he said, why you should desire appreciation from people? What will you gain by that? That is nothing. I still remember how Gurudev said from his realized position really I felt it is nothing for him, but I'm fighting to the death for that. But Guru said it is nothing. What you will gain by that? What is nothing. You should not think what other people think. What other people think. You should not think about that. And then you will think, oh, I should speak in this way, then they will like more. And like, so you are thinking what other people will think. So that is not your target. What you will gain. Gurudev said you should think what your Gurudev thinks about you, what pure devotees think about you, and what Krishna thinks about. That should be your concern. That you should think, whether they are pleased or not. Then that will be actually beneficial. Why you should think what other people, and you should not try to please them or with flattering or something. You should not try to please them. Your target is to please Guru, Vaishnava, Bhagavan. Then you will get actual benefit. So there are unlimited glories of Prabhupada. No one can finish because he is transcendental. In Krishna Lila, he is a maidservant of Radharani, Nayan Moni Manjari, very dear to Radharani and to Rupa Manjari. Under Rupa Manjari she is serving. So she appeared on the order of Radharani and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for all those reasons. And we are discussing now about him and about Mahaprabhu only because of his grace. So we are eternally grateful and indebted. And so unlimited teachings, their ideal character in his life you can see. So in Mayapur also you saw his Samadhi Mandir, and in Puri our mat is there where he appeared, birthplace. Parang Gurudev worked very hard for that, our Gurudev also. So they got that. Now also they are having 3 days program there in Puri, because this year already they started 150 years anniversary of Prabhupada's appearance. So yesterday the President of India came. They made one big tent, pandal, and all acharyas of all missions, Srila Budayan Maharaj, Sannyasi Maharaj, Bhagbazar, Gauriya Mat, our mat, and other, so all acharyas, they came. You can find video, Vishnu Maharaj, all. They came and the President opened that, this 3 years celebration. So, and he also spoke in a great appreciation. He spoke nicely in Hindi, but I understood something. He mentioned Mahaprabhu's teaching, Trinada Pisunichana, President of India, Trinada Pisunichana, and he explained it nicely, correctly. He explained it, Bhakti Bhav. So that is all by the grace of Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada was also meeting all these high positioned people in this world, presidents, governors, all, because this was also his purpose, his mission, to bring back the dignity of real teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he did that. So I am remembering his Samadhi Mandir there, his deity is there in Mayapur. I am bowing down to him and praying for his causeless mercy. We have to sincerely do bhajan, not acting, not from body or from mind, and for worldly interests. No, really sincerely we should worship Krishna. Then he will be pleased. We may say Jai Prabhupada, I bow down, we may say many things, but he will actually be pleased. We will do Guru Puja, Vyasa Puja, his Puja we will do when we will follow his teaching. His teaching is you sincerely, without any deceitfulness, means without any other desire, sincerely from the heart, you should worship Krishna and his devotees. So I'm praying for his causeless mercy, that I may be able to sincerely worship Krishna and his devotees. Tomorrow we will hear about their disciple, whom he sent also to foreign countries to preach them, Srila Goswami Maharaj. We'll hear about him tomorrow.